Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 402 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Chris DeHoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry,
Hello there, Chris and everyone.
Dana Eileen,
Ahoy, hoy.
and Jordan Biordi.
That's me.
How's everybody doing tonight?
We are here. And I said ahoy, so that should explain a lot to you.
So we're off the sea.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
We're up the river on a boat.
Yes.
There's a nautical theme there I was trying to make happen. No one's feeling the nautical vibes, I guess.
I would more be a pirate than anything. R question mark?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody else is talking, so I'm just going to start making weird pirate noises until somebody jumps on board.
I feel that's
on
the
board.
only
Gosh,
Get
no,
it?
go ahead.
On board.
I'm giving you the floor, Data.
For what? My pirate
To make-
noises?
Yeah.
Let me break out my trusty eye patch.
Go ahead. You're the captain now. I'm going to need you to go ahead and fill some time.
Can this be my eye patch?
Mm.
Okay. Ow, that was sharp.
I don't feel hard candies are designed for your eyes.
Wait a minute. If we take it out of the package, it won't stab me.
No, that's going to be sugar
Now
on
it's
your
a
eye.
glass eye. No, didn't work. And I
It
can't
was
even
close.
eat it because we're on podcast. This is basically the worst day of my life now. I gotta go. This candy needs me to
I
eat
could
it.
maybe make an eye patch out of Play-Doh, but
Don't do that.
Good.
That's a
You're
bad
the
idea.
I'm on
things in
board.
your eye in general. This does taste a real eye patch.
it says
never-
non-toxic.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm on Team Jordan right now.
I feel you should not be.
Potato eye?
Oh, I just inhaled my drink. Okay, let's get this show on the
This
road.
contains
Sorry.
wheat. It's actually good for you.
I used
No.
to eat it
No,
like
it's not.
crazy.
We all
Kids
did.
do not eat
Anyone who
Play-Doh.
says they didn't
Just
eat
give it a
Play-Doh
little
is a
lick.
liar.
Just give it a
CGM
little
does not
lick.
endorse the consumption of Play-Doh.
I used to eat sand.
It's just salty dough. That's all it is. It's
We used to
just
do a lot of
overly
things in
salted
the
dough.
ladies in the
Eh,
80s
who
and
says I
90s,
don't?
but that doesn't mean
says
we
I
should have
don't?
been doing them.
That's actually.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, I'm doing a lot of things in 2022 I shouldn't be doing.
Now we have
So
an excuse. General
awkward.
collapse of society.
It's
Oh,
devolved
that's
faster than
pretty much
usual.
I mean, or it's in the perfect level.
That's what happens. We went away for 3 weeks. No, we're totally off. The
None of
rails.
us know how to speak to humans anymore.
This is accurate.
I just
We
put on
forget.
the podcast on my phone, and She-Hulk was an ad before it, so I feel like we're sponsored by Marvel now.
Do you reckon?
I mean, that makes sense.
I thought so.
I mean, you can check out our CGM review on the website right now.
Ooh, good plug
Hey.
there, Chris.
Hey.
It's there. But we're not
Cool.
talking about Marvel right away.
I mean, we could if you wanted to.
I'd probably rather talk about that than this, but
Yeah. I
Instead
think
of
we all would.
Marvel, why don't we
Yeah.
go the DC route?
They're polar opposites.
let's go over to the train wreck side of things and discuss the elephant in the pop culture
Room.
Room.
That's fine.
Mm.
Yeah, Ezra Miller has issued an apology this
He
week for
did.
recent actions and promised to seek help and do better and all of these things. And this comes a week after the studio axed the Batgirl movie sight unseen, no trailers, no nothing, just threw it in the garbage. And meanwhile, Ezra's Flash movie is still on the table.
Mhm.
So
And they're excited for it.
yeah, of all things, the media train wreck. is what they're
Okay,
excited for.
here's the thing. That's the second time you said, and they're excited for it, all snotty like.
But
I
no, but
get
the point,
that he's a bad person, but I too am excited for the Flash movie and not the Batgirl movie, just so we're clear. That doesn't have to be a sexist thing. It just has to be Batgirl's boring. The Flash is funny and not boring.
The lesson to take away here is that as long as your like future of franchise films rests on one movie, you can go on a crime spree and you'll get away with it. But it's like if you're some other like whatever movie that was just sort of off in the wings, like the bat wings, so to speak, they can
Mhm.
just throw that in the garbage because it's like who cares?
Yeah, like I'm not saying that, I'm not even getting into the why was one canceled and why wasn't blah blah blah, but
Right.
I like the Flash. I liked Ezra Miller up until a minute ago. Not a
Mm.
minute, but a little longer
No,
than
I
a
should-
minute at this point. It's been a few minutes too many. But No, I was pumped for that movie too. So this all sucks all around. And
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get into more reasons
I too
why.
was excited for.
Yeah.
I too was excited for it after after their take in the Justice League, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Even they even made an appearance in what was that show? Peacemaker.
Was it Peacemaker?
Oh,
Yeah, they had
yeah.
him and Jason Momoa had a
Oh, and well,
small cameo at the end of that series. Spoilers.
he showed up in the was it Legends of Tomorrow, or was it the Flash? I remember they kind of did
I
a
think Grant
Flashpoint
Gustin
thing
showed up in the
too.
movie. I think is how.
No,
Was it
Ezra
the other
Miller
way
showed
around?
up in the show.
I stopped watching it a while ago, but I wouldn't put that past them.
Yeah.
Like I did for a really long time watch the Flash CG show. That's where we're at. TV show.
CW.
And even now people are saying like
Mhm.
Grant Gust for the Flash. Like that it's
I
a
think he
whole
should have just
movie
been.
though. Like a
Mhm.
whole movie they would have to remake at this point.
I know he appeared on an episode of Arrow. Is where he appeared.
Oh, that's what it was. It was
Yes.
Arrow.
Oh,
I
that was
thought,
one of
they
the
were
I
attempts,
also
though. So I think that was
watched
one of
Arrow.
like the big crossover ones.
Yeah, Crisis on
It
Infinite
happened
Earth
to
Part
be the
4.
Arrow episode, I
That's
think.
right.
Okay,
That's
that
what they
makes
were
sense
doing.
Arrow.
Yeah, I know
Plus,
it's
really
like,
cool though, with like Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman and all the other stuff
Yeah.
they're trying to do. It just feels like the ship has sunk around them, and they're still trying to keep this multiverse approach going.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause
They're rehabilitating it. Like
Batgirl was Michael Keaton was also in Batgirl, I believe.
that too, actually. Yeah, yeah.
it's like what it's just the weirdest thing about it. I mean, not just to me, to everybody, is this like it's seemingly for no reason. Like you can kind of understand why they're fighting so hard to keep the Flashpoint movie like in check, because like, with Ezra Miller just going, for lack of a better term, batshit for a little while. Like you can
Yeah.
kind of see where like the sunk cost fallacy kind of comes in, and they like were trying so hard not to lose that movie, because seemingly their plan is to just course correct the whole, DCEU from
Mhm.
Flashpoint.
Here's the thing though, like I think this is kind of what you're saying, Jordan, is so they've canceled Batgirl, have not canceled the Flash, have all the reasons in the world to cancel the Flash right now, as far as like social acceptance of what's happening.
Not giving a spotlight.
But we
to
haven't been
someone.
given a reason, like a
because
substantial reason.
because
But
it wasn't just Batgirl too, right? It was Scoob also got canned.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't love the original Scoob, so I don't really care.
But
on
if
that
I'm not misunderstanding, Brendan, you were saying that Batgirl was pretty complete too.
Yeah, they said it was based. It was
They're-
some minor post production work, but all
90%.
filming was done. Yeah, the director said it was about 90% finished.
Okay, if that's the case though, why haven't we heard anything about Batgirl compared to the Flash? We've seen parts of the Flash. We've been talking about the Flash for
mean-
ages. I mean, the first time I heard about it was when it was canceled.
No, there was some,
There-
I think, set photos from Batgirl with Michael Keaton in the the outfit. I was going to say uniform. They showed some pictures of the main actress in her outfit, some scenes of like Gotham it was looking like, things like
Okay.
that.
Did we report on that?
I believe we did, yes.
Did we? Because the way that I'm looking at it is based on just these two movies are being talked about being canceled.
Right.
I can see that there is an audience for Flash. I can see that there are fans. There were people waiting for this long before any of this other stuff happened. I don't see that for Batgirl. Aside from people saying that this is a big sexist thing, which I absolutely believe it is at this point, to be clear.
Well,
but I
not
also
to,
don't care about Batgirl.
like not to like throw around like conjecture, but it, I think we've seen time and time again that like in a lot of these cases, like the people online who sort of like talk the loudest about like movies tend to be, guys excited about movies. Because I was sort of reading an interesting article too that was kind of like comparing this to the whole like Snyderverse, like release the
Right.
Snyderverse cut thing. And like it's like, so if like, and all the arguments that people were making about like the whole Snyder cut was like, oh, it's like being true to the artistic vision and Zack Snyder's vision and releasing the movie he wanted to release. And yet like all of those people are seemingly very quiet about like not like getting the Batgirl released or getting like Scoob released. So it's like
Right.
where were all those guys now?
I mean-
Suddenly, the crusaders of artistic vision, like.
I mean, Jordan, first, I want to bring callback to, I think we talked about it a few weeks ago, the amount of bots that were involved in that story.
True. No, yeah, that is true.
So, I mean, I think there were some people that really do love what Zack Snyder does.
Yeah.
But it seems like it also was a bot army that wanted to kind of just push Warner Brothers or HBO around a bit.
Yeah, no, that is fair. That's definitely fair. But like, just sort of like, so yeah, I guess to come back around to the point that I was trying to like get to with Dana is that yeah, like I don't think like, and just based off of my like personally what I've seen on social media and like on the internet, like most people like and the larger audience for these kinds of movies are typically male, and I don't think they're going to be making as big a stink about getting like Batgirl put back up on the screen as they would to something else.
But what's the point of canceling it at this point? And like, let me finish before the group of men cut me off. Like, if it's almost done, well, you guys are all louder than me, and I'm not in the mood to yell.
I'm Italian,
or
sorry.
am I?
It's in my blood.
I'm just sassy. If what we're saying is that you said it's just a little bit of post production, right, Brendan?
That's about what the city. I mean, that's what the director said. I have no inner work.
You weren't there. You are.
And they said
Brendan's
the same thing
Batgirl
for Scoob too, right? Scoob, they pretty much it was like 99%
I knew
done.
I wasn't going to finish my sentence.
Finish
anyway,
Dana.
Please continue.
If it's almost done, then what's the harm in putting it out?
I mean,
right now, The Flash is almost done, and there is harm in putting it out.
The answer is they Warner Brothers Warner Brothers Discovery, I'll get this right one day, are using Batgirl and Scoob as a tax write-off to cover some of the costs involved with merging the two companies.
What does that have to do with not releasing it? Sorry, I don't rock tax write-offs.
So basically what they're doing is they're saying, this movie's not coming out, so whatever we spent on that movie is now burned, so we're taking that loss that year for that movie. So by doing that, they can say, hey, we've $200 million we've lost this year, so we don't pay the tax on that, basically.
But you flush it down the toilet yourself, though.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I feel the amount of money the movie could make would be more.
I was actually.
But then they'd make money, and then they have to pay. Then the company would have to pay taxes.
Sure have to pay taxes anyway.
Nope. I think negative, they don't.
I feel those two movies aren't going to make that entire company in the negative.
No, yeah, like that's what
math. Just math.
To Dana's point, I think like what you're saying makes sense, Brendan.
That's what they've said. Again, the earnings call, they said these have been used for tax write-offs to kind of counterbalance the purchase of Discovery Warner Brothers.
I agree with Dana in the sense that it doesn't make sense, because you'd think that those two like high profile movies would make enough money to like cover the cost of production and then some. So yeah, like they would have to pay taxes on like the profit, but at the same time it's like they would like have the profit to reinvest in the company and whatever they were doing with the merger, right?
I need to make a point here. Okay. These companies. Quick, name a few things that they make or have made this year.
Discovery Plus?
No,
like
House of Dragon.
Thing they make
House of the Dragon
has made them more money than those two movies. So that literally makes
the Batman. The Batman.
Exactly. There. Done. So I feel that just the profits on that movie are probably more than those two movies they just canceled.
I think it also goes to the fact that according to the Discovery Warner Brothers CEO, the movie is much more subdued compared to The Flash. So The Flash is a big spectacle, very much kind of, I'm going to put this fan down, very much kind of a epic movie that's designed for theaters. Batgirl was kind of done when they were still trying to make movies for the streaming service. So now
put it on the streaming service.
Then it won't make the money back based on. There's also a lot of weird math involved because
I feel we just have to pick which excuse we're going to take. This is just one of those games of that excuse doesn't work, so I'm going to give you a new excuse. And I'm not.
They did a lot of excuses related to this cancellation.
Yes, that is what sexist men usually do. Yep.
I mean, technically, they could put it on the streaming service, and then there's no box office revenue from that.
Yeah, valid. Yeah.
Still claim they lost money on.
If it's done, it's not costing you any
Release it,
money
yeah.
to throw it over there. So
Before-
what you just said was, well, it won't make the same amount of money, but now
Yeah.
it's going to make zero monies. So
and that's what I was saying before too about the whole like sunk cost fallacy. Like it's like it would have, I think it would have made more sense to maybe throw out Flashpoint and take the loss on that, and like at least you would have garnered some good press on it, like, you know, and whatever, like, yeah, release Batgirl, release
how about
Scoob,
this?
make
The
what you can
TV
make
show
on
Flash was just canceled instead. Let's cancel that instead.
it.
Fuck
No,
it.
because everyone
Oh,
loves Grant
sorry.
Gustinson.
We do. I love him.
He's so
I
great.
love him so much.
Even if we
Ugh.
kind of go with the theory that, oh, it wasn't looking good or wasn't up to the standards, like they tried to claim at first. Like, look what Sony did with Mobius. Like,
I mean, to be
or
fair, that's not
Morbius,
that's not a
Mobius.
thing we should mimic. That was real bad.
it's not a thing we should mimic, but people have done this recently. Like this
What are we
summer,
talking
they put it
about?
back in theaters because they thought people wanted to
Morbius,
see
how
it.
much it tanked, so they put
But
it
they got
then.
goaded. That was a trick.
Oh yeah, it was.
They got goaded into doing that.
But I mean, even
Yeah.
Just
Morbius
waiting for
made
somebody to
some
explain
box
it to me.
office back. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
Okay,
It's
so
like-
what happened was Morbius was released in theaters. It tanked. People on the internet made fun of it a lot. Sony thought it was actually a cult hit, so they re-released it in theaters, and it tanked again.
and it was based on a meme that someone made into a thing. It's a line from something called "It's Morbin Time," and then
Mhm.
Jared Leto even got in on it too when he like posted like something on Instagram of him holding a script for Morbius 2 : It's Morbin Time.
Yeah, that would
There,
never
there was a
happen
great
ever.
clip of Matt Smith
Yeah.
was at something, and some guy in the audience was like, "Hey, first of all, Matt, it's Morbin time," and Matt Smith just stared at him like he had 3 heads and had no idea what the hell he was talking
Yeah,
about. as he deserved
get
to be
it.
treated.
That's fair.
Pardon me.
No, the whole
Yes,
thing's just kind
it
of
is.
like at first he said, "Oh, the movie's not up to stuff," and then they tell the investors, "Oh no, it's a tax write-off," and neither excuse really adds up because they've released.
there
some
was-
stuff
What they
before
mean is
and-
we hate women. That's the excuse they were looking for. That they
I
didn't
th-
quite
I
go
mean,
in there.
I still want to. I
Quiet
still want to
part
call
is somewhat
back
more
to.
quiet.
I
Two.
still want to call back to that slide they used during the earnings call to describe why it makes no sense to release a female-led superhero on the streaming service.
Go ahead. Call back to it.
Well, oh, yes, right. Well, I will put it in the
They
notes.
can't see it.
Can we get on the screen?
So
Slideshow.
they described the two services. They're two sides of HBO Max Discovery Plus. HBO Max is male skewed, scripted, lean in television, appointment viewing, home of fandoms.
Appointment viewing. I like that.
This is some of the most incomprehensible.
I record everything and watch it when I want now. Thank you. Continue.
Discovery Plus is female skewed, unscripted, lean back television, comfort viewing, home of genredom.
That's my HGTV. Okay, I don't watch Discovery. Piss off.
I think they own that too.
Yeah, well,
Probably.
they're right in that case. I like my HGTV in the background.
There you
But
go.
of course, there's no overlap between those things.
Also, I
No.
hate to break it to you, I would definitely binge a bunch of HBO stuff and leave that on in the background too. So suck it. Sorry. Ask me how I'm feeling.
Every
about
single
this
time
right
I see my wife watching HBO Max, I smack the remote out of her hand.
No.
You're not allowed to watch this.
Also, you have to lean back.
She's way
Yeah,
more
you're not
engaged
relaxed
person than
enough.
I am. Like she watched the entire Arrowverse. I just watched like Supergirl, and that was it.
Mhm.
Like this.
See,
no
you're the
narrative that's
see, men like superhero women. There you go.
I like good stories. Like
Yeah.
I want to see more diverse ones. Like I've seen the same thing over and over again.
The white
Yeah.
man in tights. You've seen that before? Weird.
Yeah, right. Like
Mhm.
it's
Weird.
this
Let's
brave
just
new
Google
notion
white
that-
man in tights and see how that goes.
I don't want
I
to do
mean,
that.
Even,
Happens.
even like you know,
I hope I have a child.
some of this
safety.
some of this will be like a bot thing too. But like She-Hulk premiered today.
Yeah.
It's getting review bombed.
Literal tights.
Like there are
But
some
people
faults
have-
with this episode, but it's not a coincidence that this and Miss Marvel were review bombed on the first day.
Yeah.
And people have some of the most like
I mean, you also. I want to.
complaints about everything to do with She-Hulk. Like
I also want to bring it back to when Captain Marvel first came out. Is it Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
They definitely review bombed that one because
People hated Brie Larson too, though. It wasn't just this
People
is a
still hate Brie
woman; it
Larson.
was this is Brie Larson.
I-
so
I-
that got like triple the hate for being.
I don't know why
her,
they hate
being
her.
a woman.
They
She's
said her performance was wooden, and I just
No,
rewatched that movie recently, and it's not.
No,
the
it's
reason
not.
so
It's
the
fine.
reason I actually know this, the reason that everyone that like, or the men's hate Brie Larson.
The men's, okay.
Is because she was doing an interview for, I don't think it was for Captain Marvel, but she was basically just doing an interview, and she kind of like during the interview she said how she didn't want to be interviewed by like male journalists because like film journalism is too much of a male dominated sphere, so she wanted to give a spotlight to like talented female writers,
literally a part of a program,
and
because
basically
there's too many male journalists.
And so people got really upset about that, and
but she's right.
She's
100%
right.
But to say I won't talk to anybody that's a man is also
I think it would have made more sense to say I'm going to put if I have limited slots, I'm going to give it to the female journalist over the male journalist.
That's what I mean.
That.
People kind of took it and it hurt their fifis.
Wait,
and
take it from somebody that's in that position though. But Brendan, we were just talking about this with Tiff recently. Like that's cool. I'm all for like supporting women, supporting minorities, supporting whatever you need to support. Yes, we all need space and we need people to help us make space. But at the same time, me right now, I have been made a part of a program to do that. And now I feel like I'm being pushed ahead, not because I'm good at my job, not because I have something interesting to say, but just because I am a bisexual woman. And that gives me the like hardcore imposter syndrome. Like I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this. Like I don't have the experience that you have. Why am I getting to do this? So it's hard. It's a double-edged sword, and that's coming from somebody who's literally in this position right now.
I mean, in the Brie Larson situation, I think if like, let's say a news outlet has like 5 male journalists and 1 female journalist, and the female woman journalist just gets the lower end interviews, and Brie Larson says, I'm going to put my effort towards women. They then send that person to do a major
the power to do that, right? She has like and she's like kind of like using her influence to lift up female.
Do you know how that woman is now going to feel with those 5 men that she has to work with, and know that they all got pushed aside because Brie Larson
those
said
5
so?
Men need to stop getting their
they absolutely do. They absolutely do. Absolutely,
like life isn't
doesn't
giving them
like
enough
that.
advantages.
It's like the kid that gets bullied tells, and now the teacher gives them special treatment. That doesn't make the other kids nicer.
No, it just makes them more vindictive.
Yeah. So it's a real double-edged sword, and the problem isn't like with what Brie Larson did, from my perspective. That's great, but that's not the fix.
Yeah,
it's not an easy fix. That just creates a bigger divide.
But
we need to
reeling it back. That's the reason why everyone hates Brie Larson.
But
there's a weird cult like out to get not cult out to get her. There's a weird reputation that she's garnered. Like I saw this thing randomly. Like I get these weird press or these weird digests from Quora, the service, and one of them was like, so that's, usually they're kind of related to like fandoms and stuff that I like. One of them was like, why do people hate Brie Larson? And the top answer on this thing was this account from someone who apparently works at Disneyland, and they were saying how when Brie came to tour Marvel or something, or to some tour behind the scenes, she didn't want to be around people, and she had all these demands that seemed so rude and stuff. Like, it doesn't seem to match the person that I've seen in interviews and stuff like that. It seems like a big fabrication. Like, no one actually talks that way in Hollywood. Like, this is all like drama. Well, no, I shouldn't say no one. I'm sure there's some divas out there, but it just doesn't seem to match reality in this case.
No, and exactly like you said too, where people like criticize her, because I saw that same thing too. Like this was like this whole thing way back when Nintendo gave her a slot to do a commercial for Metroid Dread, and news outlets ran crazy with it. Like, is Brie Larson going to play Samus in an upcoming live action Metroid movie? And everyone's like, ew, no, not Brie Larson. She's a terrible actress. And I was like, go watch Unicorn Store. Like, she's a great actress.
I won't give her that. Like, people say she's wooden, she's whatever. She's not a bad actress.
She's
I just rocked a quick Google, why do people hate her? And of course it's the internet, so take that with a grain of salt. But like I'm reading through, and there's a lot of people, they could all be false, but there's a lot of people that are like, I've been in a room with her and she's not a nice person. Like
I
I'm
saw
reading
her on
something
the
from
street
a
and she
cast
didn't say hi to
manager
me.
at Disneyland.
That's
I'm
the
personally
one.
mad at how
That's-
she
that's the
treated
one,
me and my
actually, yeah. Yeah.
cast members. She visited us for the opening of Avengers Campus. I was signed to be your guide around the park. Yada yada yada. And it's just like she was not nice about anything, apparently.
And
The
that's
last
the one,
sentence
yeah.
is, "This person was honestly a shit human being, and I hope I never have to see her talentless, ugly ass again." I think that's a bit much.
That's
But
it.
whether or not that happened,
Did you
Don't know.
see
And then, of
her
course, someone
in
sees
Scott
that story
Pilgrim?
and they take it as 100% fact because someone on
Yeah.
the internet said it, and then they run with it, and it snowballs, and 5 other
Mm.
theories branch off of it. and
it turns
it's-
out she murdered 6 people at Disneyland that day. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that seems and that seems to me too. Like again, like I can't say whether or not that's false or not, but that does seem to me like the kind of story where it's like you're probably so excited that you get to be the person who like gets to show Brie Larson around the park, and then it turns out she's just like a normal person who has to deal with all this bull crap, and she's maybe just like not having it that day, and because she wasn't like the picture perfect like version of what a famous person's supposed to be to you, you're like, that person's a bitch, oh my god, she was the worst. Like
you
it's like, no,
misconstrued
maybe
the
maybe
thing.
she just wasn't happy about her situation because she had to walk around Disney being gawed over and like fawned over by all these people, and that gets
I mean-
exhausting after a time.
That's also the job. I have to be cheerful and nice and happy every time I answer an email, every time I answer the phone, and every time somebody walks in the door.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
the job.
Meanwhile, actually, I saw today Jonah
Maybe it
Hill
shouldn't be.
that he's not doing press anymore for his movies because it causes him severe anxiety attacks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's like,
Mhm.
I mean,
And
I
they
mean,
would stop
gonna be
talking
a
about his
thing.
weight.
I can see it.
I bring this back to Harrison Ford, who's horribly socially anxious, and the
Mhm.
only way he can do interviews or talk shows is just be blazed off
Yeah.
his mind.
Yeah.
So you know something, if he
Adam
doesn't want to do
Driver,
interviews
too.
anymore, he's earned that. That's fine.
I remember even like there was Adam Driver was talking too about how
Yeah.
like he's got a really bad social anxiety, and like to the point where even like he can't watch his own movies because he's so like anxious about like his
I wouldn't
performance
be
and
able
what
to handle
people
that.
think about him in that like, he like leaves. He can't be around for premieres of his own movies.
I mean, I do want to. This brings us back to a thought I had at the premiere we were at yesterday. This is non sequitur, but just hearing that, we can talk about that.
What?
The actor that they talked to afterwards, and how his anxiety was like.
What about it? What do you want me to? What are you talking about? Are you wanting me to tell the story that you started telling?
No, just I was just saying.
he's
Never mind.
excited.
No, just he was talking about how his anxiety about like getting roles and getting cast and things. Everyone was like being really complimentary of him, and then as soon as he left the English, he's like, nope, they hated me. Everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
To the point like what Dana said, like it is part of the job to a degree, but at the end of the day, it's like I feel like that's like one of those things that people like you like they'll say without fully understanding that like it's part of the job, but like is it like these are people at the end of the day? They're not like these golden idols that we put up on pedestals because they're in the movies we like, and if someone has to go do a tour and after like however long they start getting exhausted and it's a lot and they're not having a good time, like you can't just be like, well, take all this bullshit because it's the job. Like at some point something has to give and something has to change.
I mean,
you're
if
the
she was
job,
just
it is
cranky
fine.
while she was at Disneyland, that's different. But
It's hot.
That's fine.
It's the
Come
happiest
on.
place on earth.
Anyway, this was about
No one
WB,
sat
right?
at Disneyland.
This was this was about Dubuque.
This was about something at one point.
To bring it back, actually, we can tie it back in here because say the Flash comes out, because I'm still not 100% sure it will. Ezra Miller is going through. We can all agree they're going through a tough time.
They are, yeah.
They're going through a lot of difficult
they're
struggles and whatever is
having a
going on
time.
with them, and then they're going to have to go through this press junket stuff. And what do you think a lot of outlets are going to talk to them about?
Mental health.
Hey, remember when you grabbed that person by the throat? What was that all about? Like,
Remember when you went on a crime spree throughout Germany?
It's going to cause a huge
But-
spiral, right?
Something that I've seen a lot of people suggest, if you think about canceling the Flash, how many people does it take to make a movie? Like, how many people put years of their life into this?
Yeah.
How many people
Oh,
worked
absolutely.
their asses
Visual
off?
effects artists.
So
and
what
this is-
people have been suggesting is go through the movie without him.
I'm
Because
okay with
we
that.
still care about the movie. And now this has caused so much drama that we will go talk to Michael Keaton, talk to anybody else that's been near the movie and be
Yeah.
just as interested because it's been so dramatic. So
Mhm.
do it without them.
I almost think it's
Yeah.
worth like just retooling the whole movie altogether because the way the DCEU is, like with the way they cut projects here, like left, right, and center, there's almost no one left from like the main cast of the superheroes. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they'd be better off kind of taking Black Adam as a new starting point, rework the Flash, recast Ezra if you have to,
Grant.
use as much as you can from what has been done, because I'm sure you can kind of reshoot around that and massage the script to make it fit a new
I mean,
multiverse type of thing and go from
But
there.
that's still such a waste. Somebody wrote that.
Yeah.
Somebody directed
Yeah.
that. Somebody edited that. Somebody, like 400 people sat and watched the same scene for 12 hours a day. Like,
And
I
also,
couldn't imagine. I only did theater, and I couldn't imagine how it would feel for my production
Yeah.
to be canceled.
I mean,
Nor
also
my
going to throw. I'm also going to throw it out there that there's the VFX are basically done. That movie is basically finished. The only reason they're not releasing it is because there's just too much bad press right now to do so.
Which, by the way, would get the movie a lot more attention, which is also
Uh,
bad. So maybe they're just milking that for all it's worth.
But,
Oh,
but my point is, and to kind of harper back on Dana's point, to recast and redo all that stuff, that it means hundreds upon hundreds of hours worth of VFX work, editing work, and all this other stuff would have to be thrown in the garbage. Almost a movie worth of work thrown in the garbage. Recast. What they could do, if they really want to get rid of Ez Miller, is have like an end section, new like because it's Flashpoint paradox kind of story. A new Flash just kind of happens after
Shows up,
yeah. They could do that.
There's like 47 Spider-Mans, 406 Batmans.
Yeah.
Bring on another Flash.
they've
But-
done weirder things in the Arrowverse.
I mean, yeah, or just like DC itself, like
Yeah.
Flashpoint Paradox. That story is all about how one change in the past changes literally everything. So a new Flash after that, sure, you could make a simple quip of dialogue to answer that.
There's one rule in my life, and it's we don't talk about time travel. So that's the end of this conversation. No, I'm kidding.
Sure.
Hate
It's a
it.
good place to end.
It's so messy.
Yeah, Messi is right. I mean,
Well, it
it's-
depends if you're talking about multiverse theory or singular.
Yeah, see? Nope.
Nope.
See, that's what
Time theory.
happens. That's what happens. It just goes. It spreads like a little venomous disease. I don't like
If
it.
you perceive time as a single line, then
Actually,
one of
the
them
two rules in my
flips
house
back.
are we don't talk about time travel and we don't talk about Batman. And I've had to do both tonight.
Fair.
Batman
That's-
has time traveled once in his life.
See?
we're gonna have to unpack why that's a thing later.
Off
That's
mic.
Pixels and Ink After Dark.
That's after dark. That's the after show.
We don't
Well,
need that.
Dana, you got to check out the Fold 4 phone recently, and we thought this might be a good place to kind of talk about the evolution of smartphones a little bit, because the Fold 4 is Samsung's the newest iteration of their line of folding smartphones. They have the Fold 4 and Flip 4. I'll say that
Mhm.
5 times fast.
Do you want to talk about it or do you want me to show it?
You have
holding
it. in
it.
front of you?
That's
Open show.
I'm testing it. Dun, dun,
I didn't know
dun.
that.
Noise. I know it's so cool. I'm so like
Eh?
if it wasn't a big square, I don't know.
No, I
Oh,
actually
okay.
like the square. Okay, hold on. I'm in a tiny screen right now. So
looks like a-
front, da da da. Hold on, not giving you people my pin. And then do do do. Oh, you made me bigger.
Yeah.
Here you go. Oh, that's some reflections there. See if I can
It's-
reflect Brendan in this. No, it's not working. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Let's open like a random here. Once Upon a Child. Cool keyboard split nonsense. Once Upon a Child is having sales. If you're wondering,
Okay.
that's what this is.
Nice.
I think Brendan died. Yeah, so I'm getting to play with this, and that's why I brought up this whole topic. First off, today I went to find a picture for a review I was doing, and I had like 17 phones because of this job. I'm going through it so much. I'm so glad he left so that it's just my giant face right now. It's awesome. Super
Let's make
thrilled.
mine bigger.
But yeah, I was like hunting through phones because I have to go through them so quickly to review them that I don't know which phone is which anymore. But I was looking at how different they all are, and considering they all came out so close together, like I usually use the S22 Plus, but I also have the 10 Plus Pro. No,
Mhm.
OnePlus 10 Pro. Whoa,
Mhm.
right?
Yep, you were right. Yep.
And now I'm doing the Fold 4, and I have the Fold 2 and the Fold 3 at home.
Mhm.
There's one more I can't remember, but they've all come out so close together, and they're so different somehow.
Mhm.
But that got us talking at an event we were at about like everybody's first smartphone. Like, what do you remember your first phone being? I'm going to guess Jordan and Chris are somewhere around mine, but do you remember your first phone?
First smartphone or first cell phone?
Cell phone, sorry.
Okay, so my first cell phone, I don't remember the exact model. It was one of those Nokia brick ones. It had been my brother's, and then he had his own job and stuff, so he's a few years older than me, so he got a better one and handed me down his old one.
Okay.
And it was the brick, the classic brick. It had Snake on it, and that was it.
See, I don't know. Somebody else said that too, and I don't know what that is because I had the Fido phones that had the
Might have been
red
The peanut
silver.
phone.
No, I don't think so. It had like these faceplates you could change. They also had Snake, so Snake
Mhm.
wasn't special to one thing.
No, most
Third,
Nokia
10.
phones had that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I
30,
guess that would
10
be the
seems to
same.
be close enough to what I'm dealing with here. Something like what I just posted in our Slack chat there. But,
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh
big
yeah,
phones.
kind of
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. What about you, Jordan?
I had the LG Music, spelt
Ooh.
Musiq.
What?
That was a something. Let me tell you.
I'm googling that. What is
That
that?
it was like it had a built-in like MP3 player, and that was a really big deal for me.
Oh,
And it had like a
MP3
cool
is
little
fun.
like little display on the front that like lets you like cycle through. So it's basically just like a combination phone and like an MP3 player before that was
Mhm.
even a thing.
So yeah, mine was that first one. I'm posting in Slack what my
Ooh.
my
What the hell
favorite
is
one
that?
was. It's super tiny. It was literally like this big when you closed it.
I don't like it.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
This was what I remember the first like actual like what can be considered a smartphone that I had was the HTC Evo Shift. And the reason I loved it was because it was like it was like a smartphone like on the front, but then it like had a little physical keyboard, so you'd shift it down and you could just like type on the keyboard like it
Yeah,
was
I
like
remember
a
those.
BlackBerry, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
super awesome. I used to love
Yeah.
that phone.
I remember
That was like my
those. I
first
went through a
actual
BlackBerry
smartphone was the
phase.
Blackberries, yeah.
And I
Yeah, I went
remember
through.
I was at school and I was leaving class and I was like coming up this like humongous staircase and just
Mhm.
like I like went to fish it out of my pocket and it like fumbled out of my hand
No.
and it landed face down at the on the very edge of the stair. So I was like, oh my god, thank you. And I
That
picked it up and the
moment before you flip it.
screen was shattered.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, this is great. It didn't fall down the stairs, but now it's useless.
Yeah.
Mm.
A. Wilson was asking me about the crease in the fold. I don't know if you guys can see it there.
Yeah.
Kind of a little
A little bit.
It is definitely there. Like, oh, my camera does not want to play this game. So it's there, but I never minded it on the 2 or the 3. So
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe it's better on like a black screen. Hold on, we'll get there.
My uncle has the
Oh,
flip.
pardon the
and
fingerprints, but yeah, you
So-
can see it on the black screen better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I went from that little Fido phone, and then I went to the really, really tiny one, and then we had different versions of Blackberries, and then I've kind of just stuck with
Mhm.
it, whatever like the base Samsung was until I started here.
Mhm.
But like all these folds and flips and stuff, it's everything else is going back to my childhood,
Mhm.
so why not go back with the flip phone too?
I mean, the
But we
Razor's
actually got
back,
to
but
play with the Brendan, what's the Huawei
Mate
Fold?
X2.
We
I
got
wanna
to play
say.
with that this week. The Huawei Mate X2, he wants to say.
I believe it is. Wait, am I right? Mate X2S. No,
Ooh.
Mate XS2.
I don't believe you now. You
You
lied
cell
to me
phone
too many
makers.
times.
So
I'm definitely right now.
talk for a second about your naming conventions.
Yeah. Can we all talk? We have some problems.
Can we stop taking notes from Microsoft and Xbox on cell phone names? Because
Yeah.
Or like Audio Technica on their headsets. Let's not. Please
Yeah,
don't just
that-
give me a series of numbers and letters. I do not like.
Yeah.
But I think Brendan just shared what this phone looks like. If you are with us, go look it up. Obviously, we don't get Huawei phones here in Canada. Oh my god, this phone is apparently like $4,000. That is not what they told me.
Fair.
But
the phone was pretty
it
expensive,
looks
too, I think, for this release.
cool.
It does. I do have to say one thing I love about the Huawei phone compared to the Samsung phone is instead of having an extra screen on the front, the entire screen folds around, so you don't have as much crease because it stretches the screen out to be more flat. And it does
cool.
feel a little bit nicer.
I'm also going to share
I
the
like-
link to our TikTok for that phone, so you can go see. If
Mhm.
you if you're watching, go to our TikTok, CG Magazine, and check it out. It's actually really, really cool looking. Everybody that was playing with it, we had the fold there, we had the flip there,
Mhm.
because there was a bunch of tech people, and like everybody wanted to play with this phone. It looks really,
Yeah.
really nice. Also, if you do click on that TikTok, you're going to be deafened for a minute, because I just was.
I tried to share a link and Twitch didn't like it.
Hmm.
Twitch didn't like it.
I
Twitch
tried
is
to be helpful.
rude. I know, I was going to, and I remember them. Oh, it looks like you were telling swears.
Maybe I was telling Spurs. I'll never tell.
How dare you?
But like, at what point have we reached like peak technology, and are we crossing over into this is dumb and we're just doing it because we can?
I think we've reached that point.
Are we there?
I
Yeah,
don't think we've
Yeah.
reached the peak, but I think we're doing that anyways.
I feel like the peak might be like a working version of the Google Glass, and then that'll be it.
I don't need
Or
that.
I was thinking even like the
The glasses that had like a heads-up display on them.
Yeah,
I was thinking the other day even have like the Omni tool from like Mass Effect, like the thing on your
that would be awesome.
I mean,
That
I
kind
don't
Or
really need
Fallout?
that.
Not at
Or-
that level.
or-
Where's the, like,
and I
combat
know-
technology?
And I know I'm only gonna reach our mostly Canadian listeners if we had like a version of a glitch from
Yep.
Reboot.
Yep.
That would be rad. Because
It was big in the States too. It was big in the States too.
Reboot, yeah,
but it was
Reboot
Canadian
definitely
made. So
To be
Yeah.
fair, we already have, this isn't really smartphones, this is like just breaching into dumb tech, where there's like a projection on your desk and you can type on that and blah blah
yeah,
blah. So I mean, we're just doing shit because we can at this point.
I want a thing.
My comment on this specifically, like, I like it. It's good. I use it. I don't have really any problems with it,
Mhm.
but it's a $2,300 phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did I just say it's exceptional in any way, shape, or form? No. Does it
Not
have
really.
the best camera? Nope. One of the not worst, but like not good. Does it have? Can it game? Not really. Fortnite looked rough. Like, it doesn't do anything exceptionally except that it TikToks really well.
Yeah.
Like, if we
And
just
it's-
real quick, we're gonna look at my TikTok, and like
Especially-
it's just a big screen. I
Yeah.
hope we don't
Yeah.
see anything weird.
Like especially with like how phones are kind of like planned obsolescence, like spending
Yeah.
that kind of money on any, because even my phone, I think I got the Note 20, and this, I think, like I got it on a plan, but I'm pretty sure this was like a $1,200 phone. So it's
It
just,
was,
like,
yeah.
and it's not like it's a good phone, but it's not like exceptional enough to be like the cost of like half a laptop. Like,
No, that's a full laptop.
Yeah, like,
a
it's
low end laptop. Yeah.
Nope, that's a good laptop.
You think a good yeah.
$1,500
not
is
a
a good
gaming
laptop.
laptop. There's a difference. It's not a gaming laptop. It's just a laptop.
Okay, yeah.
We
The
have
Huawei
to, there's a different
14S
world.
The Huawei 14S is about that price.
Okay.
Well,
Because the Note, yeah, the Surface Book 3, this thing cost me about $3,000. So that seems
yeah,
to be, like,
there
the
you just
benchmark.
gotta look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What,
yeah,
Huawei's
that was just
stealing
kind of my question. Like, I can't figure out who this phone would be good for that
Right.
would spend that much money. Because number one, I don't think it's a phone you can get with a plan. Maybe you can. I don't think it'll be a great plan. Which means you're buying it outright. I could be wrong, but you're buying it outright. It's not a stellar phone for people that want to take pictures or content creators. Like, if I was giant on TikTok, I would not use this.
It seems
it's
like
not as pretty, and
it's-
it's not even as easy to use. I
Yeah.
wrote a review on it while we were sitting at Starbucks the other day, and even like trying to learn the new keyboard, the front is too small and the inside is too big. So though it's okay for everyday use, you can't work on it.
Yeah.
So
What's the use for the folding then? Like, is there any?
that's
is
what
there
I'm
any
saying.
market?
Like, I don't understand. I literally, the only thing that I can make sense of, my mom would love this because when she opens it, it's bigger.
You can
So-
buy it on a plan. It is $53 a month.
Yeah, on top
Okay.
of your bill, so it's
Which
a lot.
Okay.
bills are getting expensive as they are.
Or you can buy full device for $3,000.
It seems
I don't know
to
where you're
me-
looking. So it's
Bell.
2269. Oh, okay.
If you buy it directly from Bell, it's $3,000.
But
Yeah.
like I said, people like my mom would like this because you know what? She can watch us on where did it go? She can watch us on Twitch and it's bigger. She can look at her TikTok and the text is
Yeah.
bigger. She can
Yeah.
text and everything's big. It's like having a little tablet without having to learn two separate devices. But you know
I was
what?
literally
My
just about
mom's
to
not
say
spending
that.
$2,500 on it either.
It seems like it's like if nothing else for the novelty, it's like it's that like
And
hey,
that's a
do you
lot of
want
money
a
for a
phone that's
novelty.
also a tablet? Like then here
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah,
That-
it's a lot. Oh my god. Okay, Wilson just said pair of Bluetooth mouse and a keyboard, and I just remembered I have those Logitech
Yeah.
kids. Like it's
Well,
a
there you
kid's
go,
teeny
see?
tiny. I may have a fun
See?
little project.
You
for
were the
my
problem
case.
all along.
Oh my god! And then one of our friends told us about something really weird that it can do. Hold on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you
Ooh,
guys. I'm just
Samsung
like really
Galaxy
bore this podcast to death.
Ultra.
But like
Comes with a pen, too.
I just can't make sense of it, and I can't make sense of the money that it costs. Like my niece
Yeah.
would love this. She's 11.
She
You know
doesn't
what
need
I'm not
that.
gonna do? I can't make it do the thing now. I don't remember which app it did it in. It does a thing. I'm gonna figure it out if it kills me.
What thing is it?
So okay, well I guess we'll just describe it. Oh, that's not a picture that should be on there. So when you close it like this, if you're in certain apps, a little button comes up that you can click, and then you can turn on like an actual cursor. And in this spot, you can move it around, and you can't see me. Like down here, you can move the mouse like a trackpad, and then up
Mhm.
here is a screen like normal.
Yeah.
It's only specific apps, so I'm trying to find one, and
It's an app that's not been optimized by Samsung, so any like third-party app might work.
I tell you, I feel like
it's not working.
DS emulators would be gangbusters on that thing.
Maybe.
I still prefer having actual tactile
Yeah,
controls. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it
100%.
with Slack.
Yes.
I was gonna say too. The folds. No, the flip.
the Flip is the other one that's
That's the Game Boy Advance SP.
yeah,
Mhm.
basically
That's exactly what that is.
with no buttons.
With
The
no button.
Flip has a camcorder mode
Yeah,
where like okay, we're gonna use the Fold like it's the Flip. Pretend this is like half the size, and you hold it like this, and like it looks like a little camcorder with the little flipped out. Like you can see what
neat.
they're doing. Yeah, but again, it's all gimmicky stuff.
yeah,
So
Like
Yeah.
teens, camcorders were things that people used to use to make videos.
yeah. Handicam
Yes.
Sony Handycams. Ugh.
Used to be a big bulky like I ran a audio video camp for a couple of years in my
Oh, fun.
teens, and like it was like I had to carry this camera around. It was like hoisting on like almost like a news camera.
Mhm.
wait, I think I got it. Hold on.
To kind
Oh
of come
my
back to what
God.
you're saying though, like we're just doing this for the novelty of a phone. Sure, we used to do that
Yeah.
a long time ago. I had the one, I think it was the Razor with the keyboard that like you turn the phone sideways and it would just pop out the keyboard. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
a cool novelty. It was
Okay.
functional and it wasn't
Hold on.
$3,000.
Okay,
like we're
everybody pay
being
attention to me now. Sorry.
Crazy
So,
novelties and
If you can see, well, this is real bad. See that mouse on
A
the
little,
screen?
yeah.
Now I have a mouse, and I don't know why. And I can do the scrolly scroll. I can do the
that's-
scroll. Why can I do that? Can you read that screen? I have good eyes, and I can't read that screen. Anyways,
Yeah, I do
that's my
not have good
story.
eyes, so no.
That's my rant for today. Why are we paying this much
Mhm.
for
for the
this?
lols.
If you're going to charge that
Yeah.
much, then make it the best of the best.
For the
Yeah.
lols.
Don't only put one good thing in each phone and call it a day.
Just saying, I got no problems with my iPhone, but anyways, it's a little snipe.
Here we
I-
go.
you know what?
Shilling
know
for
what?
Apple yet again, Chris.
He's trying. He's
we
trying.
get it. You're sponsored. None of us are.
Can't argue with the
Ugh.
function. No flippy floppies on this one.
Oh no.
Can't theme your whole phone around Animal Crossing like I did. Make the ringtone to go woohoo.
You know, I'm
and
good
all
not
the
doing
cool
that.
Stuff.
Yeah, I did that.
Just
I was
saying,
like 16.
versatility,
It was fun.
baby.
That's kind of fun
Okay.
with a team.
I pick themes based on pretty colors. That's where
Like
I'm
it's
at.
like I just it's like my obsession. Like the one one time I was like it was all Metroid themed, but it got really annoying because I set the like item fanfare to the text message, so every 5 seconds it was just like do 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 do. And that was
I
every
still custom
text.
ringtones that do that for certain people. It's fine.
That's funny.
Anyways,
Anywho.
Holiday gaming season is upon us, and there's a bunch of big titles coming up. However, there's also been a bunch of big titles delayed out of the year. Marvel's Midnight Suns has been delayed. The Gollum game has been delayed.
That's right.
A host
Yeah.
of others. Now, around this time 2 years ago, it's almost been 2 years since Cyberpunk came out, and we all know how that shook out.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that we have a slew of games being delayed that could have found themselves in the same situation as Cyberpunk, what do we think? Are delays considered good or bad now? Have we shifted our opinions on this as an industry?
What I've seen watching the fan base, because I don't give a crap, since the Cyberpunk thing, like I remember when that happened and everybody was livid, like just livid. Since then, I've seen more positive reactions than negative reactions. I've seen a lot of like the cesspool that is Twitter. I've seen like, well, at least it won't be a Cyberpunk, like every single time. So it seems to have like flipped a switch a little bit. It's like their plan was to make one god awful failure, and now we're all cool. We just set the bar real low, and now everything's great.
Someone had to fall so we all could rise.
But the problem is we haven't been going long enough to figure out if it pays off. Like all of these games that are all delayed, it hasn't been that long since Cyberpunk. So Hogwarts Legacy got delayed. You said Marvel's Midnight Suns. Those are not small games. So are they gonna cut it? I mean, just for these reasons, are they like graphically and story-wise gonna cut it? We're not gonna talk about anything political at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think
are they gonna cut it?
I think like part of the consideration with delays, at least like presently, might still have a bit to do with like COVID kind of flipping the whole like game industry on its head, and people are still like a lot of devs and like a lot of publishers are still kind of like recovering for that and slowly still like acclimating themselves to like a more consistent sense of normal. But like and we've discussed this a few times on the podcast where it like we know there like multitude of stories about dev crunch, like sort of like toxic working environments.
Nintendo?
And we can get to that later if
we're not getting to that. That was my throwing it in there. We said it. All right.
Them too. Nobody's safe. And it's like if working towards sort of like a greater like mentality, because as hard as developers are trying to get unionized, which would like alleviate a lot of these issues, the fact that like at least now, like in terms of public reaction, that a game can get delayed and people are kind of like now like looking at the bar of comparison with Cyberpunk and being like, okay, you know what, maybe they do need an extra year, like maybe we can wait for a video game to come out, like if it'll be the best version of the game and not just like here's a turd and maybe it'll get better in a little while, because that was part of the problem with the industry as well too. Like that kind of happened like a little bit in the Xbox like 360 era and then into the Xbox One, PS4, where a lot of publishers were kind of getting into this like release first, patch later mentality, and like a lot of games suffered for, right? Like not every, like we've said before, like not every game gets to be No Man's Sky, which is the only one that seemed to get out of it seemingly unscathed.
I mean, that Hello Games suffered a lot. There was a lot of people wanting refunds and stuff for that when that game launched,
Absolutely.
and the reviews were not great. So I don't think it got
Oh,
unscathed. I just
but
think they turned it around.
yeah, absolutely, and that's more what I meant to say. Like they're kind of unscathed now, I think, because yeah, like it was bad
Sure.
in the beginning, but like now people talk about No Man's Sky and they're like, holy shit, like it's actually like this is a great game. Like they did a really good job, and people don't tend to remember so much that it was a cluster F and a half when it came
Right.
out. Um, but now, and so like, and people are a lot less forgiving now when games are released like that. So like, look at again Cyberpunk.
Right.
So yeah, I personally, I guess to put a little period on this, I'm still very much of the opinion that, you know what, we can wait for video games. They're just
We
video
can.
games. Like I
Yeah.
love them, but they're just games. And like if developers need an extra year to not have to work 80-hour weeks so I can get my video game, I'm happy with that.
Now that being said, like with all these delays and stuff like that, Chris, you and I especially, there's a lot of games that we like that have been teased for, I think, like 84 years now. Been talking about Dragon Age. For me, it's been
Right.
Fable, it's been Elder Scrolls 6, and they've just been like tiding me over with little bits of like ESO, which are not pleasing me.
Yeah.
Right.
At what point, like, are they maybe announcing them too early if they're having
Yes.
to delay them? Like, hey guys, I just made up this game. It's going to release on March 24th, 2026.
Right.
I've done nothing yet. I don't have
Well-
any staff, but this is when it's coming out.
This has been a thing they've been adjusting to for years, though, because Final Fantasy VII Remake originally was announced 5 years before the game actually came out, and then like a year after they announced it, they had to throw all the work out and switch to a different
And
partner.
start over. Yeah.
So that's just something that's really been, I think, an issue over the last 10, 15 years with the rise of internet media.
It's
right?
like the people that get engaged in like the first 6 weeks of knowing each other. You
Mm.
got to wait like that solid 5 years before they get married, and it never works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fable is never getting married.
No.
Fable's never tying the knot. You're perpetually engaged to Fable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other side too is recently people have been kind of bagging on Forspoken.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this all started again, because
That
here's
great
the thing,
trailer.
the trailer that people have been ripping apart, that dialogue has been out there for months. Like I heard that trailer on loop daily for months.
Really?
Months ago. Yes, it was playing on a loop in a store, and I
Yeah.
heard it every day.
Mhm.
That
Well-
trailer was not new, and so when I saw someone mocking it earlier this week, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny, but why?
I think
now?
it's more the fact they put it out not just to stores but also
It's,
online.
like,
and I think that's
publicly, that
yeah.
was the
Yeah, it
was the
was a-
big
it was a
mistake.
trailer
Put it
they
on
showed
Twitter and
during,
hopefully it'll work.
It's a trailer they showed during like a presentation or something. Like it wasn't new footage. I'm not sure how it reached into the zeitgeist like it did. But anyways, the game has been delayed, probably for the best. I think I'm confident in how this one's going to turn out. But just because it's sitting in development hell in a way, like people are finding no new reason to be encouraged by it, I guess. And that's just like, you don't market a game that's going to be, pushed back 5 months as hard as you would when it's almost here. So it's like there's nothing to feed on. So they just kind of,
I swear, games need trimesters. Like during this first trimester, shut the hell up. You don't know what's going to happen. During the second one, tell those you trust. At the end, tell everybody they know. They can see it.
Yeah.
Like there you go.
Well, I mean, I've been saying this for.
I'm great at this.
You are. I've been saying this for a long time now, because it was definitely a problem within the industry where people were like really scrambling to have like content to show at like presentations like E3 and stuff. So yeah, that's where you get these issues like Bethesda just putting out like a JPEG and a title for Elder Scrolls 6, and it's like, okay,
I mean, they had a rolling hill then a JPEG, so it's a little more.
Okay, you know what? That is true. You got me there, Brendan.
I do prefer my
they drew a
JPEGs to
title
be
screen on a napkin and lip sync.
Yeah. So like it's like that desperation just to have content, just have an announcement, and it's just like you don't even have a game yet. Like,
and that's a big thing too. Like we have these companies that are working on these massive games, but then things like Gamescom and Summer Game Fest and E3 come up, and the pressure is on to put out content. So not only are we the people putting the pressure on them to put out the content, because if they didn't, then they're worthless and they're not doing anything, but we're also going to tell them that they're doing it completely wrong. They're telling us too early. They're telling us too late. They're changing the dates. They're not ready. Why aren't they ready? Why isn't it out yet? Why didn't they delay this? It's terrible. We're
That's
awful.
That is kind of why too. I always like I always gave credit to Nintendo where it was due, because Nintendo was always really good, and they have been consistently good at like announcing something like
Metroid Prime.
Well, yes, I was gonna say that was their one big F up, and I even said back then they should have never announced it because it was not right. Same with Bayonetta 3. Like, luckily Bayonetta 3 finally got like a trailer, and we know about it now. But it's like they had been so consistently good about it's like, we have a game, it's gonna launch by the end of the year. If we announce it now, and then like, okay, we announce it at E3, and then another showcase happens, and okay, here's just some more footage, and then another one happens, and here's some more footage. They just keep showing the same game at multiple cons, and you keep getting a little bit more and more. It's like, but like you have a concise window that it's going to come out in. Like, not that it's just like, we have an idea for a video game, and maybe in 6 years we'll show you it. Like,
there's a question even further than that. Okay, we want them to delay the games if they're not ready. Do we care how long? Because
I mean,
say I'm working on an article for you, Brendan, and I need to have it in on Monday. But I come to you Sunday night and I say, listen, I can't do it. I need an extra day or two. That's one thing. If I come to you and say, I can't do it, I need an extra 6 months.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So with games that are like, hey, we need an extra couple weeks just to put the finishing touches, that's one thing. But like Midnight Suns was delayed for at least 6 months minimum. I'm trying to look and see any bigger ones just on this list really quick. I'm not seeing any off the top of my head.
Show us the actual gameplay of that one.
People have seen it. People have seen it.
People have seen it, but publicly, like, it hasn't been like a trailer of gameplay.
Oh, I thought
like Warhammer Darktide was delayed from September 13th to November 30th. Okay, fine. We're still in the same quarter. It's not like 2027, but I feel like, and of course I have no thoughts to back this up right now, but I feel like
game development's easy.
No. I mean, I feel like that there's been bigger delays is what I meant. And sure enough, I came across Avatar Frontiers of Pandora and an unannounced Ubisoft game delayed from 2022 to Ubisoft's 2023-2024 financial year. So that's between April 2023 and March 2024. Just sometime.
That's always a good sign.
That's a bad delay, right? That's not just
to that point. I think that like with all of us not like knowing some of the parts of game development, but not really like the like nuts and bolts, and like, because none of us are game developers, like it's hard to say, because like there are so many moving parts to things that, like, when people want, like, these big open world content rich experiences, but then you have to write like these lines of code for every little thing, and like, and try to make sure that everything works properly, like, something that like that might start off like a small like delay, like it might just seem like a small problem, it becomes so much bigger. Like, if they need that extra time because you have the coders working in conjunction with like the artists and the script writers and the like, all these, like, it's not just like one person, kind of like what you were saying, Dana, like needing a little bit of extra time on a fairly simple project. Like it like
snowballs.
I said, it's like
one person delaying now delays every other step of the program too.
And at the end of the day, it's however long you sort of need, right? If you're working on an article, say, and you have the key source that you need, right? But that source goes away and isn't going to be back for 2-3 months now, and but you need that to lock in the story. Well, then at that point, like, Brendan might have to say, okay, like, this might have to be on the back burner until we can get that one, the missing the smoking gun that we need for this article. Like it, but it's like, if you only need,
we've done that.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So if you only need like a couple days because you just have to like, just verify some things and verify some information and get some pictures, whatever, like get some assets from whoever's sending them to you, that's a different story. Like, it's like whatever it takes and however long it needs to take that.
Yeah.
But does that mean in that case that they're just starting too early, telling us too early? Because there should be a point. There should be okay, we're this far into the game. Yes, there are delays because things happen, but There's
100%.
a
Yeah.
list of like 100 games that have been delayed
No, and
by like years.
going
at
back
this
to
point.
exactly what I said, and even what Chris was saying about Final Fantasy Remake, right?
Yeah.
Like there, we have no shortage of examples that of games that like just that wanted to have an announcement,
Mhm.
and then like ended up just getting scrapped and redone and put on the shelf and come back and like
Right.
so yeah, like it's definitely like I
Which
said,
game
like
was it that just completely changed studios? It was part of
Uh,
the Bracer Group now.
Knights of the Old Republic, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
that just
Yeah.
changed hands too completely too. So that's good. Like whatever work they had on that is probably gone, and they're gonna start over on that again.
Like if I handed you over something that I'm working on and said just go, you're not going to be like everything Dana did was perfect and we have
Yeah.
to touch nothing and I will do it exactly how she said. Like they're going to completely rebuild
Oh,
that thing.
absolutely.
So
yeah,
So
basically,
they handed it off because
I'm
they
tired.
needed to in this case.
It's definitely a mixture of all those things, but yeah, like having working on a project and having it like almost kind of like tying this back to the whole Warner Brothers thing, right? Like having it basically near completion where you can actually like confidently have an announcement about it, and then yeah, like if you need to make some small fixes or maybe just like in QA testing something breaks and you need some extra time to fix it, that's a whole like different story. But like when you have nothing more than like a rolling hill and a JPEG, like and then the game has to be delayed by another like 6-7 years, like it seems like good business, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, we have this on the plate, and this and this and this, and investors like, okay, good, they have content, good, like they have hype and everything's coming, right? But then like when stuff like this happens, you either have people who are going to get pissed off because they were waiting so long for your thing and now they can't have your thing, or
Right.
luck, or you have people who are maybe coming around to it being like, okay, game development is hard, let them take the time they need to make it.
It's like,
But
oh, they have
Right.
content, check. but did they have good
it's a
content?
balance. It's a balance of exactly, like it's a balance of having content, setting expectations and knowing like when
if
you're
you
ready
don't
to
have
announce.
enough to make a trailer, like just teaser trailer. Don't tell me. I'm not ready.
Yeah, but that's dangerous too, because we've seen in the past that some publishers are liars and they come to E3 with what looks like gameplay and it's all just pre-rendered video.
Okay, well,
footage,
everybody
and they
stop
hype
being
you up
dill
for
holes
it.
and be honest for a minute. Like, then we get into just people suck.
No.
The fans
Killzone
suck.
3
The developers
was-
suck.
Strategy for the game industry
or
in
was
general.
it Killzone 3 or was it Killzone 2? That was just
I
like
do not know.
completely like they had a trailer
That was
at E3. And it was
Killzone 2.
complete fabrication. Like it was a complete.
Well, no, it was
Whoa.
a
Sorry,
Who
you
are you
shouted
rolling
there.
at?
I'm in the room with you. We're trying to talk over you, Jordan. Jeez.
so Killzone's 2 thing was what was the term they used? They wanted it to be
vertical slice.
No, it wasn't even that. It was a goal trailer. So what's what they want the game to look like?
This is our vision board.
This is our vision board. Yeah.
Basically.
I want Todd
This
Howard.
is exhausting.
We're hoping the game looks like this. Whether the technology can achieve it is a whole different story.
I want.
Isn't
Todd
that pretty
Howard
much
to
what
come out
James
at the
Cameron
next
has done with
show.
everything?
Yes.
No, he
This is
just
what I
loads
want
it.
it to be. We'll get there.
But we also have the Aliens Colonial Marines. Remember that game where even the
Oh yeah.
even the trailer we saw, I was at one of the E3 presentations where they showed it off. They were playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that one section is all that worked, and everything else was a giant mess.
But then
So-
weirdly enough, when the game actually released, that section that they showed the trailer like didn't even look remotely like the way it looked in the trailer.
Because they basically pushed everything to the
Okay.
max, and they used all the processing power they had on whatever piece they were using to make it work.
Yeah.
But the problem was no
Nothing
console of
else
that generation
worked.
could ever make it
But
work.
you know
like that.
what? Even like behind the scenes as like game reviewers here,
Mhm.
even by the time we get stuff, sometimes it's not done. Like sometimes
Yeah.
you're handed a sheet of paper that says, okay, so we know about all these problems. We know.
It's true.
Shush. If you cross this line, you will
Don't do
see
this, yeah.
bad. Don't.
Well,
Like
and that's-
one of the MMOs that I did, They were like, hey, like this is just a test realm, like some stuff's gonna be broken. And sure enough, there was like a jacked up bird and like just white. Like I walked into the abyss. And I was like, I'm gonna turn around and go back now.
Yeah.
But we don't talk
Yeah.
about that. So
Yeah,
even by the
because-
time they get to us, they're not done, which is fine. Like I get it. But maybe
that-
if they're
that-
still not done at that point, don't tell us 12 years beforehand.
and that's what I'm and that's that's kind of what I'm saying too, because yeah, like that's a problem with like the way like it's the whole thing is like cyclical, right? Like it's like, so we get games, because I've been note a couple times where I've gotten games that were like, and they'll tell you like in sort of like the embargo sheet that this game, like that there's gonna be a day one patch. So it's like I'm reviewing what is essentially a busted game, and then I have to write my review to hit the embargo, which is before release, so the people who are going to play it on release day are going to get a fixed version. But when they read my review and then I have all these problems with the game because I'm saying like this was broken and this didn't work and this and that, it's like, oh well, you didn't play it before the patch. It's like, yeah, well, they didn't give me the patched version, so what was I supposed to do?
Yeah. I just have to make it up and pretend that it's fine.
This game worked perfectly.
Yeah,
Just
there's
couldn't
one I
jump.
got where it's like, here's what's being patched in the day one things. Please don't mention these things. Like,
It's like, yeah, but that's going to affect your playthrough and your review of the game,
to
right?
be
You don't
fair,
get to
I
review the
didn't
magic
run
fixed
into those
version.
problems in that
Mhm.
instance.
Well, sometimes you get lucky.
Anyway.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's kind of
So pretty much what we've come up with from this is that everyone's
Stop
doing
being
it
dill
wrong. The
holes, yeah.
fans, the devs, just we all suck.
No.
We're
But,
too
but-
whiny and too demanding, and they're
Yeah,
jumping the gun. And we'll see if these games still suck in a year.
Yeah.
I was going to sum it up as they're getting better at delaying things, or better at accepting that. What we're
Mhm.
not getting better at is announcing things in the right time frame and accepting that they've announced.
Yeah.
things
I feel like we just solved the mystery. I think we just
definitely-
fixed the game industry.
I
So
definitely
Completely.
agree with Beta.
Punk, but for game announcements.
I definitely
Big
agree with.
buckle, contextualize
Sorry,
everything for everybody.
No, it's okay. I wanted to.
Tell me you agree with me,
Chris,
please.
Chris finish. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, because I don't think we talked about it on podcast about like gamers being way too whiny. 'Cause
Except every podcast we've ever
no,
done.
because I don't think we talked about it specifically on the podcast when the Animal Crossing Isabel account put out that tweet for like the people in the UK who were going through the heat wave, and it was just like this sweet little like, oh, to all our friends in the UK, like be safe, don't push yourself too hard, and and like we're here for you. And it was this little thing I just saw like a news article like on Nintendo Life for it, like the Animal Crossing Twitter account just wished all their UK friends like to be safe and this and that, and part of my brain was like, I want to click on this tweet because I just want to see what the first like
How much
comment
everybody
on
hates
this
them.
on this tweet was going to be. And sure enough, the first comment with like 5,000 likes was like, we want more stuff, give us more stuff, give us more updates, we want more content. I was just like, I'm like, you guys, can you chill for 1 minute?
It's too hot over there. We're just trying to say hello. Calm down.
Mhm.
Can you
I wasn't
chill
someone in
for
UK on the
1
road
minute?
together. I don't care.
Give
if
us
you're
more
posting
content so I
live
don't
over the
remember I'm so
pay-per-view
hot.
boycott.
Jesus.
I don't even think the people in the UK were the ones complaining about it. It must have been people in the States who were just not experiencing the heat and had nothing else to worry about.
I've got news for you, Jordan. Everyone's experiencing the heat. It is not a
It's
fun
hot.
time.
You sounded like a radio DJ there.
He
for a
does.
second.
Your voice is loud and deep today. So
You're feeling the heat today, guys. It's a warm one outside. So
Yeah, I do not realize why it's doing that, so we're just going to pretend it's not, because
love
that's
it.
what's going on.
I feel you were playing with that voice changer again. We're
I'm
gonna
really
go
not.
Keely and Brendan in a minute. No, you're not. It's not that
worked
bad.
out
We're
so
being
well last
dramatic.
time.
he said it to the smooth jazz
is true.
setting.
If only I had that mode.
Anywho,
Why doesn't it have that mode, if anything?
This is a comedy podcast.
Are we going on with the next thing?
Yep.
Please.
All right. So for our last topic today, this weekend is seeing the launch of House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel. That snuck up on me. I didn't realize it was coming up so soon until like the other day, and it was like,
It
oh crap.
is.
Yeah. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to sequels. Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power is essentially a sequel
Right.
slash prequel. It's a little more detached than House of Dragons, but it is.
But it's
still
just
the same
taking on
thing.
that universe, right?
It's not like completely the Silmarillion, right?
No,
It's
it's a portion of the Silmarillion, and it's also like not even related to like the teams that made the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings movies.
Okay.
So it's got a different dev.
So
or
it's
different
really
research.
just like jumping on their coattails.
Okay.
yeah.
The
Well-
same way, like, I'm gonna make a Batman movie.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any of the other Batman movies, but Batman's in it, so people are gonna watch it.
Yeah, like the
Mhm.
Batman.
Joke.
Goddamn Batman.
So the
Well,
joke.
because Lord of the Rings had lore beyond,
I mean, yeah, the Silmarillion, but also like what was the other one? That Christopher Tolkien put out.
He put out a bunch.
Yeah, there's been a lot of books beyond just the Lord of the Rings, been prequels, sequels, everything.
Well,
And then there's
the Silmarillion actually.
his father wrote most of it. He cleaned it up, but there was another one.
The last few years of his life, he did several that were just kind of collections of different variations of the text of stories
Yeah.
in the Silmarillion. And then he had the whole tales of it, like there's a 12-volume set of just the writings raw, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Wow,
But
I didn't realize.
yeah, it's deep. But my point is, well, I'm getting there eventually. That there's a lot of lore to draw from, and even the Silmarillion, it is a dense text. It's a tome, although it's technically shorter than the full Lord of the Rings. It's just a lot of like, here's 1,000 years that just passed, and
Yeah.
this spider exists. Peace for another 1,000 years.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful rendition, and I hope that will be my bedtime story from now on.
It's
I mean, there's
So
a
she got so
summary is Tom
bored.
Cardy's summary of the Fellowship of the Ring.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff goes on. So I understand why they're doing it that way, because that way they don't have to deal with the same actors. They can just go on their own path, but still
Yeah.
kind of be connected to something people know.
So yes, they're just riding on their coattails. They're like, we want to make something. That name's kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
remains
Let's
to be
do that.
seen. I haven't actually seen
Yeah.
the show.
Well, the reason that this topic came up was Brendan and I went, was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yep.
And we got to see House of the Dragon, the first episode. That's it. And going into that, I'd heard nothing but bad things about it.
Mhm.
But nobody'd seen it yet. So,
Yeah.
like, not many people when I was hearing the bad things. So I was hearing, like, the graphics are terrible, the costumes are terrible, everything's terrible, the story's terrible, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we know I'm not generally enthusiastic about a whole lot. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And I loved Game of Thrones. And like, I noted all the little, like, throwbacks and that kind of stuff. It's a prequel. It was really good. I loved all the actors. I loved the story.
Mhm.
It came out the gate swinging. I don't know if it's going to keep that up. I don't know how you start that high and then what. So maybe they only showed us one episode for a reason. I don't know. But they did really well with it.
Mhm.
But this is kind of what you're talking about earlier. One of the actors there, Steven Tucson. He is in the show, and he was at the premiere that we went to and talked a little bit about it. And that's what Brendan was getting at with his anxiety and stuff when he was auditioning for the show. And they said you couldn't have done better. And by the time he got to his car, he turned that into, I did as well as I could. But I can't imagine, like, taking on a role in a universe that is so scary. Like, the fans of that show were diehard, and I can't imagine what jumping into a show like that would be like just preparing for a year of your life to either be adored or just destroyed.
Yeah.
Not to mention with the way the first series ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of vitriol.
Press
Just out of
that
That was the
curiosity,
first
what
question
do
he got, was somebody telling him how much they hated the finale of Game of Thrones.
And he was like, "That's not a question."
Yeah, first
Well,
of all,
there was like a
I wasn't
speech
involved on that show.
where she said it sucked. I didn't want to see this, but it was good. He's like, that's
Dude,
good.
that wasn't a question.
Thank you.
What was
Yeah.
the question?
People I don't work
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, like, it was really good, but they can't all be that good.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, where was the bad stuff coming from? Like, where were we hearing all that stuff?
The internet.
Reddit.
In general, just those like
The beacon of humanity that is Reddit.
I had
Yeah.
talked to a few people that had spent a lot of time, like, in the forums, and that's never a good place.
troll and tough.
That's
forums.
never a good place.
Yeah, because I mean, a few years ago or early on in the show, did an exhibition at the TIFF Lighthouse Theater, actually.
Yeah.
That's where we were.
So my wife and I went to see it, and like we saw all the costumes up close, and just the incredible amount of detail that went into all those things. I can't see the same studio doing bad costumes. Like,
The
No.
only complaint that I had, like literally the only thing, was I don't like how the dragons look. Like they look cheap when they're flying through the sky. It looks like bad graphics.
I mean, I think this show, especially compared to the original Game of Thrones series, the dragons were used very sparingly, kind of as an emphasis when they put all their budget into episodes where the dragon did things. This one, they really have to do a lot more with the dragons, and you can tell that it doesn't quite have the same budget per episode for each time the dragon's on screen, because
maybe in a couple seasons it will. But
I feel they're not going to spend like whatever $30 million on that one scene when they don't know if it's going to get like 5 seasons yet, or if it's going to bring subscribers in yet. So
plus there's 17 dragons.
yeah,
There's
it's
10.
17. No, I heard 17 today too. So I don't know
Really?
if I was wrong yesterday.
no, they said there's 10 dragons. It said on the screen.
That's what I thought too.
I think it was Nerdist actually the thing about the 17 dragons. I don't know. There's a lot more dragons exponentially. Like,
See,
don't
I
know.
heard 10 too. But yeah, and it's we also thought for a minute that it was like 20 years before. It's like 200 years before.
So there's lots of
172 years before, more specifically.
before the events just before the original series.
So that gives them some content. But going from that, like I was looking at other shows, that's how Rings of Power came up. I don't give a crap about Lord of the Rings, so I can't talk on that. You guys can talk about how you feel. But what it took me to was Walking Dead. That was a show that I loved, and it got so oversaturated that I stopped. I haven't even finished the original Walking Dead that's been going on. I'm behind in that. And just this past week, we were sent something about the new Walking Dead series that just dropped this week. Did you guys know there was a season, a new show?
That was the
Because
one
I
with,
didn't. Terry Crews, Olivia Munn, Parker Posey, Samantha Morton.
Yeah.
What?
I had Walking Dead fatigue after like season 3. I was like already kind of like, this show is like steadily declining. Like
this cast is insane. It's just like an 8-episode anthology series. Like it's okay, but how many Walking Dead shows is that now? Like 4 or 5?
Yeah.
No, there's Fear, there's Walking Dead, now there's this. I know there's another one that I didn't watch. I think there's like a teen one.
And then they're gonna make the.
I mean, I want that now,
Rick
but
and
no.
Michonne one.
The Michonne and Rick spinoff is now going to be. Movies, going to be another series again or something.
It's going to be like a 6-episode series. It's a mini series type thing, or maybe a 3-episode.
Not quite a full movie.
I don't care.
I thought the movie was a bad idea anyways, so it's not probably the worst idea.
And I feel like that's ruined it for me. And it's similar to how I felt about like, and we won't get into this conversation because it'll change everything. But that's similar to how I feel about like Marvel. There's just well, there's a character, let's make a movie. There's a character, let's make a show. There's a character. That guy walked by in that episode. He should get a show too. And like it's exhausting. So now
super.
It's just killing stuff for me. I'm hoping that House of the Dragon keeps going well. And I mean, Olivia Munn and Terry Crews, I'm pretty excited about for this Walking Dead nonsense. I can't make sense of it yet, but I will watch Olivia Munn cross the street if they let me. So I can't make sense of just killing these universes, just beating them to death.
They're big money.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Will they keep making money?
I mean, what does AMC really have that's at that level? I don't think. I mean, they did Moonhaven, which I enjoyed, but like,
until they lost that.
Yeah, so I mean, I can understand why they're trying to do something from The Walking Dead because it's such a there's dead things and the world sucks. New show.
Yeah,
they can spin off it really easily.
But okay, I don't think you were. Well, maybe. You guys were fans of like Walking Dead when it came out in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You're not now, right?
Yeah, no, I fell off.
So 4 fans.
Yeah.
Literally just tried to figure out how many shows there were because we stopped caring at some point.
I think there's 4 now.
Yeah.
So if we take that survey and we do that math, that is 100% of people do not care anymore.
There's 5. There's gonna be 5. I'm wrong. There's gonna be 5.
You see?
Oh, because Daryl and what's her name are getting a spinoff too, right?
Daryl and Carol.
Carol, yeah.
Girl and
Great.
Girls.
No, also no. Isn't there also the Negan show as well?
Is that still? I don't see.
That's still a thing.
Negan show?
I feel
There's a
like we're
Negan
just
show.
making things up now.
No.
That
Negan
guy that
and-
walked by, he got a show too. That zombie.
Negan and the girl that was I forget every name in that show.
Maggie.
I tuned
Maybe?
out when Rick had gone and Kyle Chandler left too. Like I just tuned out. I defended that show up to that point. I still stood by it, but once that happened, I was like, yeah, this just doesn't need to exist.
I was
anymore.
okay with that because I hated him. Hated the kid.
Yeah, it wasn't
I
like-
also
like, it wasn't
hated
my
Andrea
biggest-
on the show. They were way cooler in the books. But yeah, no, like that's just my point is things are just ruining things for me. Make something new. I'm tired. I know I
See-
say that while doing no work to make it happen, but
I still think
Maybe.
there's a bigger difference between what Marvel's doing right now and what like The Walking Dead has done, and like
Yeah. I'm just going to chime in here for a second. It is Negan and Maggie. It's called Island of the Dead.
I
and the
don't
worst
know
part
how to
is like I
connect
like
my-
all those pairs. Actually, I really hated Michonne.
Yeah.
Michonne was supposed to be Andrea, and it was like a whole thing. Anyway,
Mhm.
bleh. I like Daryl, so I'll probably do that. But see, then you have to. No.
Maybe I'll go back and see the rest of the main series that I skipped, but I just don't.
Well, that's how they got people back into Fear.
Yeah.
They started pulling very small people out of the main show. Like, hey, they showed up and walked by. Cool.
Morgan wasn't small.
Yeah, they were there.
per se.
Well, yeah, I think who's the one I'm thinking of? The guy that worked with Negan and then got his face all burned. See, that's how big he was.
Yeah, I know that character. Yeah.
Can't think of his name right now.
See, the
But-
thing is, like, I had read ahead in the comic, and I knew some
Mhm.
things that happened and stuff. So, like, I was always kind of like, why didn't they take Rick's hand? I mean, they could have worked around it. I know he's the lead of the show, but they could have put a glove on him and all this stuff. They could have made it. They could have adapted the filming practices to
Mhm.
make him lose his hand.
But they
and still have that
changed
whole
entire
struggle.
characters from the books too, though. Like Michonne's character on the show. Yes, Michonne exists in the book, but Andrea is the one that ends.
Yeah.
So,
Ends up with Rick and
Yeah.
kills the governor and does all the cool stuff.
yeah, and on the show, I wanted to mute it every time Andrea was on the screen. They made her
Yeah,
so
they-
whiny and annoying.
They really,
Ugh.
yeah, they
And
done her
also
dirty
shot
on that
themselves
one.
in the foot on that one too.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with the subject. I just got
I
really
know.
mad at it. That's how I do.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
like one show was adapting a source material and deviated and did it once, and people thought this is great. Shane stuck around longer.
Mm.
And they thought, let's keep deviating from the book. And there's also like, oh, the showrunner doesn't like this particular actor. Let's write them off the show. Let's do it again. Let's write another person off.
Now let's
And
give them
get
their
another
own
person.
show.
And show them
Right.
this role and, like,
Are there any other shows you guys can think of that have done this more recently?
cannibalize themselves like this.
Yeah, pretty much. Just tear themselves apart and saturate us till we're dead.
See, I haven't watched Breaking Bad, but I've heard that Better Call Saul is like one of the best shows ever.
Oh,
made.
Better Call
Yeah.
Saul's
That was
really
the first
good.
one off of Successful,
Mhm.
to give a positive example.
But then I heard El Camino really isn't that good. It's not really worth
It's
watching.
it doesn't really explain anything. It's like, oh, that's what he did in that few hours. Cool, I guess.
Mhm.
Sons of Anarchy did it. They had Mayans, I believe it was
Yeah.
called.
But that didn't do well, I don't think.
No. And
no one
then you
talks
could
about
get
it.
into the whole like our childhood coming back situations, and it's like Corey and Topanga's kids, and like
Fuller House.
that kind of stuff. Like those are
iCarly's
kind
back.
Yeah.
The amount that you know about iCarly is terrifying. Quiz him. It's scary.
I literally know nothing about the show. I've never watched it.
No.
But it's back.
We're gonna not touch that one. It's true. He has not watched it. Let's put it that way. But yeah, we've got those shows now. Just are like, hey, you guys liked this 23 years ago. You want to watch a story about their kids now, right?
Well, and
Well-
aren't they doing a Yellowstone prequel as well that takes place in like
Mhm.
the
They would've done
the
that.
1800s or something?
Yeah, that's the thing that's happening. I'm trying to think of other ones, but that's all I got right now. I came with the big three. This is your problem now.
I mean, I aside from like shows that we've kind of like grown up with that have like had like so many like variations and changes like like stuff like Transformers and Ninja Turtles and Batman, like all those cartoons, every single one. Like I know, like for Batman, right? People hold the '90s cartoon as like the gold standard, but then like you had like the Batman and Batman Brave and the Bold and like like Batman
really
Beyond and all this other
thought about
all this other
that.
stuff.
Beyond was
so
Beyond was an extension of the original show. It had the same
True.
voice thing.
That is true, but what I'm saying is that it was kind of like radically different from the '90s version, which was a little bit more gritty, a little bit more like it felt more like a comic book, whereas like the Beyond felt a lot more like kind of like early 2000s TV show.
Yeah,
I
sure,
never
I'll give you
really
that.
considered all of those shows. Like, take like the DC universe, for instance.
Mhm.
There is a version of that for every age group. There's
Yeah.
a version for toddlers. There's a version for older kids. There's ones for teens. There's
Mm-hmm.
ones for adults. There's ones for real risky adults, risque, if you will.
Oh, like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's
I was just
exactly
going
what I
to
was
say.
thinking
Harley
about
Quinn
that.
is a great example of this.
Like, so I guess that's just trying. See, for me, that's trying to pull in everybody into one thing, whereas these ones are just repeatedly pulling the same people. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to make Game of Thrones for children? That's a different story. Please don't. But
Game of Thrones babies.
yeah, please don't.
No.
But
I
do you know
can't
what
see
I
a
mean?
way it
I
would
think
work.
that's a
Yeah.
little bit different. Just because it's
Little
trying to
Daenerys.
put one subject in common for a whole bunch of people. It's not just constantly hitting the same person over and over and over.
Yeah. I guess
Also,
that's
there's too
fair.
many
Yeah,
Batman shows.
Please.
I really can't think because I mean most examples of shows that try to do that for the most part failed. Like the one that comes to mind most like quickly is the Joey spinoff.
Oh,
That
yeah.
lasted for like a few episodes. Yeah.
It was it was
no.
not good. And then like I know like it like kind of was the same thing, but like 2.5 Men after they got rid of Charlie Sheen, like it
Oh yeah.
kind of
that
was a
bad
different
show.
thing, but not really. Like
That was just a bad show.
That's somebody's show. That's happening.
yeah.
Eric and Donna's kids.
Also, Young Sheldon.
Yeah,
Young
I was supposed to say Young
please,
Sheldon,
why?
but
Why does this exist? Why is it well received?
if you recall, Dana,
Perceived.
they actually did try to do a follow-up to that 70s show
That
called
80s
That
show.
80s Show.
I
and
never
it
saw
sucked.
it though. Like, did it
And
actually like show
no,
up somewhere?
It sucked.
I watched 3 episodes of it.
It
was
did?
Yeah.
It came out?
I think that's all they
Ooh.
made was 3 episodes of it because it was
That's awkward.
garbage.
One season.
That's
tops.
amazing. Downloading that. I need to see it. But yeah, so I guess they've been doing it for a hot minute and it's mostly been failing. So far
There was 13 episodes.
that's so amazing. You're gonna download those for me later. Not that we download television, that's bad. I don't know. Is that still bad? I don't actually know anymore. Like that used to be real bad. That's still bad.
Technically,
Yeah, we don't do that then.
We don't endorse it.
I'm
but
gonna
we
try and
certainly do
find
it.
it
It is
on
bad. You should feel bad.
Blu-ray somewhere. Is that a thing?
Yes, find it. On
But what I was
Somewhere.
it just sort of like a thought popped into my head where it
Okay.
seems like
A thought.
like
Just one.
I know it's rare, but
Wasn't going to say it.
Hey, but
you were
did a
thinking it
little bit.
loudly.
We saw it on your face.
No, it's like it seems like when shows try to do that, at least like on network television, most of them failed because like the way shows were run, like for network television, you typically stuck with a show that you liked for a lot longer. So anyone who stuck with Friends for the full 10 seasons and like the what like 20 years it was running, like, or maybe less than that, I don't know, felt like a long time, and then it's just like you're gonna try and make a show after that that's just Joey, and it's like it's not gonna connect with you the same way
And
that it
the
would.
other thing that doesn't connect in those situations is for Friends, for example.
It's missing the core component.
Yeah, you liked those friends,
The friends, yeah.
dating, and like I didn't really like
The drama.
when it started to tidy up and they all grew up and were
Right.
Yeah.
like
You want that core part. It's the same reason like Saved by the Bell, the college years sucked. Who are these people? Why are they all dumb? Like, I want my people back in my spot in that age and whatever. I don't want to I'm going to go back to Boy Meets World. I don't want to love Corey and Topanga and Sean and Eric. And wow, I know all their names. I never know names. That's scary. But I don't want to watch their kids and occasionally see
Yeah, you
them
don't
now
wanna
as
see them come back.
lame parents. Like,
It's that kind of thing that I think like is probably better suited to streaming platforms, which is why you're
Right.
seeing a lot more of it on streaming platforms, because like streaming like shows are a lot, I think, like more easily digestible. You can blow through a season of a show in a night,
Mhm.
right? And then kind of be like hungry for more. So it's like, okay, well, here's a prequel thing, and here's a show
Right.
about the side character,
that's
and here's
true.
like something that's coming out, like, and it just keeps satiating your appetite for more stuff. But like
Mhm.
when you have a show that's like running for a long time, that you're following week to week, like a spin-off or a prequel,
You've had
like
enough.
for example, like The Walking Dead, it's just been running,
Right.
and people who are following week to week to week, and now it's just, it feels so overbloated because now these guys are getting a spin-off, and here's a prequel, and then this is spin-off and spin-off here. It's
Right.
like, it's like how much it's like you can't keep up with it at this point. It's just too much.
But then does that bleed into games? How many games
Maybe,
have
yeah.
sequels, prequels, spin-offs?
Well, I was gonna say it reminds me a lot of how many games, not necessarily just with like sequels and spin-offs, because like realistically, it's definitely a shorter, or it's just definitely a smaller number. Like most games, when they have spin-offs,
Mhm.
they, you know, they're either a different genre, or they're trying something new. But like it feels more to me like the boom in like battle royale and these kind of games, where it's like every game feels like you got to get in and play it and do it and hit your dailies and do this stuff. It gets to a point where it just becomes way too overwhelming. There's just too much to keep up with.
I don't think, like, with what I was saying in terms of prequels, sequels, like new games coming out in the
Mhm.
same title, I just did like a really quick search for when the first Elder Scrolls came out, and that was in 1994.
Oh yeah, it was like a text-based game, wasn't it?
No,
So
it was no, it was
Oh, they
like
built a
just
map
really.
for that. Oh yeah.
Daggerfall came out at 96. Like,
Yeah.
so that's been going for what feels like, when I say that, 10 years, but I guess it's what, 30 now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or and yeah,
25-ish
so
change.
30 years. So that's, we're saying it's saturated and there's too much of it and blah blah blah, but these are stretching it out way longer. Like Game of Thrones just ended not too long ago and we're hopping back
Right.
into it. But Elder Scrolls 6 is coming 30
Well,
years
so
later.
so we
And
think.
Brendan, that's what you were talking about with Orphan.
That movie came out. The original one came out in 2009, and they're now doing the prequel. So I find Orphan funny just for one reason, that the original movie, the actual actress they used for the person was 10. Now she's in her 20s. They have to kind of de-age her with all this other stuff to make it sure look like a 10-year-old or like a person that's posing to be a 10-year-old. And it's just really uncanny, but that's how they had to do it to make
Isn't
this
it a
weird thing.
prequel too?
It's a prequel.
So the
yep.
girl has aged 20 years but needs to be younger.
Well, the point of I don't want
I
to
feel you
spoil it.
just pick a new girl.
I was
Anyway,
just
that's
about
fine.
to say what I know the spoiler of the movie is.
Yeah, let's not do
Yeah.
that. But like,
Not do that.
just
We all know.
Just saying.
We're all thinking it.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess.
I'm just gonna stay out of it. It's fine. But yeah, like maybe just stop reviving things that, like, I don't need another Halloween either, but it's
Yeah.
coming this October.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be the last one.
How many times have they said that?
This definitely does feel like
a
an
stick.
yeah, like this definitely does, I think, feel like an old debate, because like
Yeah.
I feel like people and like probably like us too have been saying this forever. Like, remember when they remade RoboCop?
Yep.
Like it's just like people it's like going back to what Dana said before, like make new stuff. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to keep reviving things or rebooting things or giving us context to things that came out. Like just make
And
new
I'm trying
stuff.
to figure out
Have
if
new
this
ideas.
is happening because we had reached a peak. Like, okay, say take The Wizard of Oz. There was a period of time where people wanted to remake that, build off that. So it seems to be like bell bottoms. Shit just keeps coming back. Because Wizard of Oz then had to return to Oz. Then they had the
The Wiz.
Franco one. Like there's
Mm.
so many in that universe. Same with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I mean, they did do that
Right.
in the past, but it just seems like it's so much more now. Were our stories just that great from our childhood, or are we just that unoriginal?
And it's funny that you bring up Willy Wonka because aren't they making a prequel movie to
Yes.
They are.
Willy
They are. I
Wonka?
forgot with Timothy
With Timothy
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Yeah.
Jesus
Shall
Christ.
Yeah.
may not pass.
It never ends. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't want to be cynical and jaded and
Yes,
be
you do.
like all
It's
the
where we're
good
at now.
ideas came out like in the 80s and 90s, and now we just
Right.
have nothing. Like,
But
it's
you know
like the-
what? Go talk to your parents about music and find out when all
That's
the
what I
great
mean,
music
like,
came out,
Mm.
right?
I think.
So
I
is
think
that
there's-
what's happening to us?
Music
Yes.
has-
I think there's definitely no shortage of talented,
Mhm.
like creative, visionary filmmakers, but the Hollywood corporate structure being as it is now compared to like back in the day when it was a little bit more like open to taking risks on stuff.
It was
like,
never open to taking risks.
Well, like the studio structure was a bit different, right? As opposed
They
to the
took
way it is now.
original titles, so they don't do that
Like,
now.
the things that make crazy money really are the safe bets. Just make another Marvel movie. You want to make a prequel to a Marvel movie, a sequel, whatever. Just like, okay, those are fine. Those are the ones that are going to make money. But like, you
Yeah.
know, it's hard to see like a studio, taking a risk on a movie like they would have done like on with like Jaws, for example.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
get you.
think it comes down to the right premise too, right? Because like for every 10 things they make, that's like a shameless prequel or whatever. There's like one thing that sticks. So like,
Yeah.
I was looking at some examples of like sitcoms that made it work. Because we talk about Joey, right? And that
Yeah.
wasn't enough for premise to take the most shallow character in the show and give him his own show.
Mhm.
But like this has been a thing since Happy Days. Like Laverne
Yeah.
and Shirley spun off of that. Jefferson spun off of All in the Family. Even Frasier spun off of Cheers, and like that was a big difference of a show like that. Like to take that cast of people, different walks of life, and then focus on the most.
See,
like,
but what I
hoity-toity
feel
of
like
them all.
those ones did, for me anyway, just because of the age that I was. So Cheers,
Mhm.
my parents watched.
Yeah.
I watched Frasier.
Yeah.
I'm really cool and I was a child, but that's fine. I watched Frasier, right? So I know that it came from Cheers, but I wouldn't have known that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of bringing it to a new group of people, and it's not like saying, well, we're older now, so here are our children. Like it, I don't know. It's a little bit different to me. But what I was gonna say is, we said like talk to your parents and see how they feel about music. Like only good music came out in the 70s. I don't feel that they're saying that about movies from their childhood. Like I don't hear that. I don't hear my mom saying like the black and white movies were the only good ones. She's gonna kill me for saying that. But you do hear like a lot of the 80s and 90s were the best action.
Well,
but we've
I
come
think-
so far since then that like it's
Yeah.
not really
Because if you
that's
look,
nostalgia.
I think maybe it is there is a certain degree of nostalgia to it, but like if you kind of look back on those times, like Star Wars came out what, like in like 74 or 75, like 77. So you go, so like when Star Wars came out, it was a big deal, but it's like it literally changed cinema. But like nowadays, we're not getting a Star Wars. We're getting continuations, like things that are just building off the Star Wars license and trying to capitalize on it. But like we don't have that film that just like changed everything. Right?
I disagree with that. I there are movies like I think wow. The one with the dreams. Wow, I'm drawing a blank right now. What was it? Inception. Yeah, that movie.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of movies that do push the limits. It's just the fact that they
very
make
few and far between though.
well, they make a lot of money, but
Yeah.
they're not designed to be sequelized. They're designed to be contained entities. The movies that really are designed to be like
Give
money
it 10
makers.
years though.
Yeah.
Another, because it's
Even
been a minute.
Avatar,
Yeah,
But
you know what?
the
Okay,
movies
you
that-
know.
Well, I'll let you finish. Sorry, John.
Oh, so I was, when you say it like that, it definitely does feel like there's a little bit like of nostalgia on us, because like not to say that there aren't like really good movies coming out, but it's like it sometimes it just, I guess it feels a little bit to me like when you sort of like look back and like look at a movie like The Godfather, and like
Sure.
compare it to something, I guess like something that's come out like in like the past like 10 to 15 years. I can't think of anyone who would look at like a film like Inception or like Tenant or whatever, and talk about it and hold it in the same regard that people kind of do now, I guess, in retrospect for The Godfather. Like when The Godfather came out, it was such a massive thing. Like the one movie I can think of from, I guess, from our generation that really made that kind of difference was Lord of the Rings. Like that was just like an incredible
And that
feat
depends
of
on who you were,
filmmaking.
though,
Mm.
because for me now, obviously, again, I was a kid, like I wasn't a friggin' filmmaker or anything. For me, that never grabbed me.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'm not necessarily talking so much about like
You just mean how it's pushed, they
whether
used-
you
okay.
like the movie or not. Yeah, it's just like how
Gotcha.
much it took to make that movie. Like it shouldn't have been possible. And
I'm going to
yet
throw it out there,
wasn't for it.
but Jordan,
to make it.
Mhm.
I'm going to argue that I think the original Game of Thrones, as much like it or hate it, that was a phenomena, and it did change how TV, like
It did,
Oh,
yeah.
TV epics were done. Like that was the
Absolutely,
age
yeah.
of dark. The like Lord of the Rings ushered in the age of
But we had kind of
fantasy.
gotten into movies, I think.
I'm
Yeah.
I
the
think
problem
I
is
think
I
it
think
works for TV as well.
I think streaming itself has changed the landscape of what we.
Yeah.
I got to put this fan down.
It's not that
TV
warm in here, guys.
TV itself has kind of changed how we view what are epics on the screen. Like,
Yeah.
I
don't need
think,
to go to the movies to see one.
yeah,
Or and how we watch it on top of that. I'm not
Yeah.
watching a little tube TV in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, Brendan, you have what, a 65-inch TV in
Yeah.
your living room? Like those are just thrown out nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody's got surround sound and lighting and
Mhm.
not better popcorn at home. The popcorn in
No.
movies is way better.
No.
But like it's not like we're watching it in this little box
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I think
maybe
and I think
that's
that,
changing too.
I think that that's definitely like probably what I was trying to work towards, is that like the whole structure of like media has changed to such a degree that like certain things are kind of rewarded for sort of just like being continuations of the
Mhm.
stuff that worked, as opposed to like like taking really big risks on films that could like
Right.
just like structurally, like the making of them could just like the whole thing could just collapse at any moment, right?
Yeah.
I think one other film that kind of falls into that is Avatar. Like,
Mm.
I enjoyed it when it
Yeah.
came out, and then immediately disliked it after on repeat
Yeah.
viewings and stuff. But they made an indelible difference in how
Yeah.
we make film, like movies.
It-
Like it's
it-
probably
it
one of the
pushed the
closest
bar
ones to
for-
Star Wars in terms of how it changed filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean that it. I have to like it.
it
I respect.
didn't
it
have to
for what
be
it did.
super good, but they definitely changed how like VFX like artistry and design like could be done in films. Absolutely.
All that to say that, yeah,
Movies suck now.
things suck now. Everything's the worst.
Basically,
Right.
all of our really
Bad.
positive topics, because we didn't want to talk about a bunch of miserable stuff,
And-
ended up really miserable, guys.
Mm.
It's
True.
Miserable.
no, I think we brought it around. I think we
We made it work.
made a point by the end.
Storm
Yeah,
clouds about it. Like we weren't crapping on parades or anything.
we're cautiously optimistic.
Next week, we literally crap on parades. What?
Let's
Oh.
find a parade.
Oh.
Join us for the live
Mm.
stream. It's gonna be something. It's be a hell of a show.
Ugh, I'll leave it at that.
It's too late. We're all tired
That's
now.
going to do it for us this week. If you'd like to read more on most of these topics and more, you can find full coverage at cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. Just search for CG Mag. You'll find us. And if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com. Jordan, where can people find you?
I'm barely on social media anymore, but if you want to check me out on TikTok or
seen your
Instagram, you can
Instagram.
find me. Yeah, I post pictures of me and my girlfriend being cute.
Mhm.
I'm at Ninja X Jordan, and I need to start making more YouTube videos, and you can check me out Ninja Jordan Reviews.
He's not paying attention. I'll go with me.
Literally, I was watching him do
Oh,
that.
you're frozen on my
I pointed the
screen.
wrong direction. To be fair, I was
Oh,
Okay.
that's awkward both ways. This is going well. Chris, you gotta just say it. We're suck at this.
no.
You can find me online on most places at the Dana Eileen. If you can't spell that, go to the CG Make online and find it.
Watch this video; it's right there.
That's true, but if you're listening on podcast, go to Twitch, watch this video. Like, there's a whole process.
And I am BFry26 on everything because I see Chris pointing at stuff. So
He's
Trying
done with
to-
us.
Trying to steer without steering. And you can find me on Twitter at Hoogathy or here on Twitch at Guilds 2 Taps. All right, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
Brendan, get ready to hit the end. That's
You
you.
have to actually steer now.
Steer the ship.